Hello friends and welcome back. Satisfactory 1.1 has been out for a while now, and most of the mods in the community have been updated to support it now, and we've also had a couple of new mods come out since the last time we recorded this video. So it's been about a year, and it's time to update my Best of Satisfactory Mods series. So today I'm going to be showing off a bunch of mods, many of which are old mods that have been around for a while that now work in 1.1, as well as a bunch of new mods which I had only just discovered, some of which only just came out this year, so we've got some brand new stuff also added into the mix. Now, some of these are mods that you all recommended in the comments below previously, so if there's a mod that I missed that you love, please make sure to drop it in the comments so that I know about it, and maybe it'll be considered for a future video as well. With no further ado, let's dive right in. All right, so let's get started with the user interface, really lightweight sort of mods. I personally consider these to be essential. I know not everyone does, but I will note that a lot of the older mods that I've highlighted previously as user interface and essential mods have actually been added to the base game. So the first pair of mods I want to talk about are Infinite Nudge and Infinite Zoop by Sir Digby. Sir Digby has a couple of great mods here that are on my list today, but this one I think is absolutely fundamental. In Satisfactory, they added the ability to take a block and nudge it into place. This actually got added as a result of the old mod Micromanage. Infinite Nudge actually allows you to continue to move things way outside the standard nudge radius. Infinite Nudge also allows you the ability to rotate blocks, not just on the standard axis, but you can actually tilt them up and down. For instance, one trick I like to do is to rotate down the power storage containers onto their sides, because I think that adds a little bit of texture to a build and design. I think that can be useful, but there's a lot of neat tricks that you can do with rotating blocks in ways that were not intended by the original developers. The companion to it is, of course, Infinite Zoop, and this allows you to zoop in two directions, and as stated, it's infinite. So you can see here, we're going into thousands and thousands of blocks here. 30 by 40 is that platform. It makes it really quick and easy to build very, very big mass platforms. Highly recommended that pair, Infinite Nudge and Infinite Zoop. The next mod I want to mention is called Cartograph. This one just updates your map so that you can actually see all of the things that you've built. So over here, you can see my hub, my manufacturers that I've got laid down next to it, and then all the foundations here and some wall pieces. All of those now appear on the map. In some cases, this can be a little bit laggy of a mod, so you might not want to use it on your really, really epically large builds, but when you're just getting started and still trying to figure out where you're laying everything out and where everything is, this can be a really, really great mod. You can also tweak the performance settings a little bit to suit your particular setup and needs. Next, another old favorite of mine, more Swatch slots by the Curium team. They do a lot of really great mods also, and this one, all it does is add a whole bunch of additional custom swatches to your customizer. So you get the few swatches that you can customize by default. This basically gives you another, 27 of them that you can add to that. If you're like me and you end up having a lot of different color schemes, this can be a really, really great thing to add. All right, the next two are a couple of really great time-saving apps from Aquila Industrial. Andre Aquila is one of the most prolific mod authors in the game at this point. He just makes dozens and dozens of really great, high-quality mods, and these two are no exception. The first one that we're going to cover is going to be Instant Crafting Bench. Now, this gives you a new crafting bench that is a substitute for your standard crafting bench. You slap this thing down, and what you could do is literally craft things instantaneously. No more sitting around waiting for things to tink. You push the button and everything crafts instantly in a stack, almost as quick as Minecraft. I absolutely love this. The other one these produce for us is one that's called No Research Time. Now, I'm not going to be able to show this to you because I've already unlocked everything, but No Research Time basically allows you for both the hub and for the MAM research to basically drop things in and it researches it automatically. No more waiting for the ship to come back, the 5-minute delay, the cooldown, all of that. No, all that's gone, and you can just jump right into your next research project. Again, fantastic work by Aquila Industrial. All right, next up, another wonderful Sir Digby mod. This is soft clearance for everything. It does exactly what it says. You can take all of your various machines and whatnot, and you can start scooting them into each other using your nudge, and it's soft clearance. So exactly what it says on the tin. You can overlap things as much as you want, and the game does not complain. Next up, another great mod, especially for content creators, SkyUI. It allows you to go through and set the time of day however you want, and this can be great to show your nighttime video version of your base. You can also stop time completely with this, which can really be helpful if you just want to lock in permaday and never have to think about it again. All right, we've got two more here, both from Aquila Industrial again. First up is Bottleneck. Bottleneck gives you this handy command, bot on, that puts a dot over each of the different machines that you've got. And if it turns red like this, that means you have a bottleneck. Production is not flowing smoothly. turns green, you know everything is good. So this can be really helpful for debugging your production lines and just seeing where is something not working. The next mod is Organized Crates. This allows you to build this single unique crate organizer. And then when you're going through and deleting massive numbers of buildings, instead of all of those items just going into random crates that are laying on the ground, they'll just go into this single crate, which is absolutely huge. And you can pick everything up out of that rather than having to run around all over the place trying to find all of the weird random crates that you left around. Now, last in this category, I have to give an honorable mention for one of my all-time favorite mods, which is finally back for 1.1. You can see the name on the screen on the left, friends, Smart Mod. Smart Mod is finally back and updated. This allows you to use the number pad to add a bunch of additional machines. You can build them all at once, the same way that you can Zoop anything else. And that works really nicely when you're laying out big rows of machines here. The only reason why it's fallen in the rankings for me this year is because they've only just updated support 1.1, and so the auto connection of belts doesn't work yet, but that is the next feature for their next release. They've already announced it, it's coming, but even if it is back to 100% of its old self, Smart Mod is still 100% worth using because it'll save you so much time in laying out massive factories. So I definitely recommend it. It even lets you increase the steps and spacing in between your blocks so that you can do things like laying out your conveyor splitters for your manufacturers with very little time and very little trouble. So this is a really effective mod for doing mass construction. Alright, moving on to the mods that actually add more content to the game. I'm going to start with my all-time favorite, and I'm going to say this is the most divisive mod I feature every year. You either love it or you hate it. Personally, I love it, and that is Refined Power. So basically, you build modular generators out of sections here. So you put down your boilers and you connect those up, and those go into your steam turbines that then turn, and that's how you generate power. The reason why this mod is so divisive isn't the modular power system that comes built into it, but instead the early game stuff that you can do where you get power for free, including these lovely wind turbines and also solar panels. Now, the very cheap versions of this don't make a lot of power, but they can be made really easily, and you can just make dozens and dozens of those to power your entire base. The more high output ones require a lot more resources and take a lot to use. So you can certainly play with them or not play with them. It's up to you. You've got water turbines and dams as well for water power. I love using those. The other thing that's really neat is that you also have a modular reactor that you can build of different tiers. That one's really fun. And the ultimate late game power production in this is the Icarus system, consisting of a railgun and the Icarus receiver, which is massive and huge and wicked cool. So the Icarus railgun, you have to deliver packages of various components that you're building on a regular basis. These packages get shot up to the Icarus platform, which is up in space that you have to consistently repair. That then shoots energy back to the Icarus light receiver, which is this big contraption, and that is doing nothing but converting water into steam. But you basically have to keep these going every second, all four of these packages, to have that consistent power. The other thing I'll mention is that this mod just looks really great. If you couldn't already tell, every single piece of this is thoughtfully designed. It looks super professional. I think it's a great job that they've done on this. It's actually included in some popular mod packs like Satisfactory Plus, so I highly recommend checking it out. Even if you're a bit divided on the use of solar panels and all of that good stuff, at least use it for the modular power because it'll really increase the yield of the power you're producing in your coal plants, etc. And it just looks real nice. Hey friends, if you made it this far, I'd really appreciate it if you consider going ahead and clicking that like button just below there, and if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel as well. To be fair, I don't produce that much Satisfactory content these days, except for when Flexo asks me to come and help him build a factory.
Architecture, what are you doing right now? You're just sitting there in your ballies.
This is like the ultimate boredom part of the game.
As soon as I knew we were doing that, I was like, architecture? You got a minute?
Does anybody have time for some boring drudgery I don't want to do?
We need drones.
But instead, for the most part, I've been playing a lot of modded Minecraft, building factories in modded Minecraft. Does Mechanism Tanks not have a full... that's bad. I did something bad. And a lot of content that's very similar to how we play Satisfactory or Factorio, but inside of Minecraft instead. Big, epic factories, lots of production of different ingredients, and getting through those chains and quest line. If you haven't seen that sort of content before, definitely check it out. If that's not your cup of tea, I totally understand. But either way, let's get back to the content. All right, next up is one that you all kept telling me to check out over and over again, modular load balancers. Modular load balancers add all of these various blocks, which you can then chain together, and it'll do all of your load balancing for you. So these snap right together, and these basically become a single unit. Instead of having using all of those mergers and splitters and all that stuff you normally have to be doing, you can literally just connect these up, and these will do all of that merging and splitting for you. So for instance, in this case, we can have this one belt come into all 4 of these in this one slot, and then it'll split this across the load of all 4 of these without having to do any other work. It'll just automatically balance that for us. Then coming back out, same thing, everything gets merged back into a single belt. So thanks again to everybody who kept saying over and over again that I need to check this one out. I've been sleeping on it for way too long. It is a great little mod and I highly recommend it. All right, another regular favorite of mine here. I've put together a whole bunch of constructors and now I need to chain them together with power. So I'm going to use Daisy Chain Everything by Sir Digby. This allows you to take any machine and just daisy chain it to the next one in the lane. All of these have configurable numbers of inputs and outputs. I think by default it's 4, but you can set it up to like 9,999 if you want. I think this should be a base part of the game. Everything should at least have a couple of power connectors on it, bare minimum. Highly recommended, Daisy Chain Everything. Next up, another mod that did indeed make it into the base game, but I still like using the original mod, Linear Motion. Linear Motion gives you a variety of different elevators, which quite frankly, I just like better than the ones that come in the official game. I think these look nicer, you can customize them more, and they have several different tiers depending on how high your elevator needs to go, from 100 meters all the way up to 500 meters, which makes sky bridges no problem. But here's something that's not in the base game. Linear Motion also adds vehicle elevators. These allow you to raise and lower your vehicles up as well. And to me, this is just an awesome little feature. It just looks neat. It's super cool. And this can really add a bunch of flavor to your builds. So next up is a mod that I've covered extensively on the channel in the past. This is a mod that used to be called Wire Mod and is now called Circuitry. This allows you to build all sorts of different logic gates between various pieces of your factory to be able to control flow in various ways. So you can set this to have lights that go on and off, for instance, if you run out of resources or if power drops or any number of other things you want to do. You craft this little soldering iron looking tool here, and then you can make all these various buttons and whatnot connect into your logic circuits, and then you can do fun things like make lights change color. There is a steep learning curve to this with the various gates you have to learn how to use, but if you watch my video on it, you can get all the basics down pat really quickly. All right, next up, a few more mods from Aquila. First off, the fluid sink. All it does is it sinks fluids. They just disappear. I have used this one when I feel a little cheaty, especially when I'm dealing with things like the aluminum setup where you always have to deal with that excess water that's coming off. I can never get it to feed back into the system just right. There's always some sort of a bottleneck. This is a great way to solve that problem. Similarly, he's also made a small awesome sink. It's an itsy bitsy little awesome sink. This is really convenient to basically put anywhere that you might need it in your factory instead of having to put a full size awesome sink. I mean, let's just be honest. This thing is really hard to just slip into the end of an assembly line somewhere. This little tiny awesome sink has all the power of the big guy and it does all of the work, but it's a lot easier to fit into a smaller place. Hey, speaking of bigger on the inside, Multidimensional Factory, also by Aquila. This big building you can throw down. When it says configure, you actually teleport inside. So if you're familiar with Factorissimo from Factorio or Compact Machines from Minecraft, this is the same idea. You have various inputs, various outputs, power, and you can build a whole factory in here, and then all of the inputs and outputs just come popping out of it. This allows you to build nice little automatic black box factories, but just for doing, say, a rips in a box, this is a great way to go about it. All right, last in this category, Equipment Mark II. This gives you a slightly better version of all of the various basic equipment that you have in the game, including gas mask, hover pack, and hazmat suit, in addition to Blade Runners. I've actually got the Blade Runners Mark II on, and you can see you run just ever so much faster, you jump ever so much higher, and I believe these completely negate all fall damage as well. All right, on to my favorite category, design and decoration mods. Of course, you're going to know that I'm going to list off Structural Solutions first. Structural Solution gives you all of these lovely paintable concrete blocks. And when I mean paintable, I mean actually paintable. No hacks needed or involved. So when I put down a foundation block here of 8x8x4, this just standard foundation size, it's gray to start. But if I go over to my customizer and I grab a brilliant color and paint it red, it's red. It's not pink. It is actually red, friends, and that's really wonderful if you're doing those vibrant colors in your builds, as I like to do. So all the concrete's paintable. It also gives you a variety of additional frame blocks, lots and lots of extra windows. I really love this, and I use it all of the time in my builds. So highly recommended Structural Solutions. It's definitely worth checking out. Next up is a collection of mods from Jean-Michel that include gateway extensions and Architecture Plus 1 through 4. That's 5 different mods that you can add, and I gotta say, they look really good. But there's also some really great windows here that I really love. These ones, particularly with the hex and the round around it, I think can work really well. I threw some down here. I think this could just look really cool in any factory design. The gateway extensions part of this pack allows you to build all sorts of different catwalk pieces to add to your existing catwalks. So for instance, I can do much wider catwalks by having the stairs right, left, and middle. It also gives us these end pieces for our various catwalks, which we can throw ladders on as well. So we can just walk up and get right on these dead-end catwalks, and then, I guess, go back down. Next up, factory props. It also includes factory foliage and factory decor as bonuses, and this can be really useful to upgrade your builds. I think that having some of these basic props can be useful if you want to show off and have them on pedestals and whatnot, all the basic items in the game, but what I really love is this factory decor, where you can have all sorts of pieces of other machines. For instance, the industrial cooling unit. This can just look really great integrated into another piece of your design. I also have a few of these train station containers sitting around that can make some interesting walls, and of course these antenna that you can just plonk down anywhere you want. So these just give you those little bits of flavor that work really well. In a similar vein, coming back from Aquila again, we have decorations and more deco. Decorations gives you pretty much every single piece of foliage in the game as a placeable in addition to the rocks and whatnot. One of the ways I use this the most is if I have deforested an area to put down my factory and I want to put some trees back to make it look like it's natural. This could be a really great way to do that. So for instance, the bamboo forest, you can put some bamboo back and make it look like your base was deliberately designed around the trees, even if you didn't do that. I do at least want to give an honorable mention here at the end to Satisfactory Plus. This is a mod pack that adds an extensive amount of new content, new unlockables, new chains of production that you have to build in the game. It really draws out the game significantly. If you've played the Factorio mods by Arch666Angel or Bobbing About, you're going to be familiar with those sorts of playstyles where you have all of these intermediary ingredients. You have to make sphalerite and crush it down and to get iron, and it's a whole thing. I will admit, this mod pack just about broke me, and you can see my partial playthrough on my channel elsewhere. Definitely not for the faint of heart, but it's still a great mod pack, and I do recommend it for people who really want to go way deeper in Satisfactory and have the patience to do so. All right, that brings us to the end of this year's list. Thanks again, everybody, for watching. And if you haven't already, please do hit that like button. Please do hit that subscribe button. It always really helps me out a lot, and I love to see it. If you have comments on any of the mods that I should have included in the list that I did not, please drop them there down below. And as we're fading out here, I want to just give a flashback to some of the mods that didn't make it, that aren't with us anymore, and haven't been upgraded to 1.1. We miss you. Thanks again for watching, friends, and we'll see you back here next time.